Okay, I hope everyone's doing all right. This is Wednesday, April 22nd. Going to add something a little more difficult today. So far, we've been solving quadratic equations that factor. Every problem I've given you the last 3 or 4 days have been equations that factor, but not all do. I've just set them up to where they will use the factoring method. Friday, we're going to do a different method. And what we're doing today is kind of a practice for leading to what we're doing on Friday. Okay. First, it's called the discriminant. Using the discriminant to analyze answers to a quadratic equation. The discriminant is b squared minus 4ac. Now, it just looks like a bunch of variables to you, but I'll show you where the b and the a and the c all come from. First, make sure you're looking on Canvas, and I have it at the top of your problem here. You got to find the values of a, b, and c using what's called the standard form of a quadratic equation. The standard form of a quadratic equation is the squared term, the x term, and then a constant or a number, like 5x squared plus 6x plus 9. Okay, so you got the squared, the x, and the number. Today I'm giving it to you all that way. That is where you get the a, b, and the c from. The a is always the number being multiplied by the squared. The b is always the coefficient being multiplied by the x. And the c is always the constant that has no variable with it. Okay, so a is what's being multiplied by the squared term. B is what's being multiplied by the x term, or what's called the linear term. And c is the constant. Okay. After step 1 is get the values for a, b, and c. Step 2 is we're going to substitute into the b squared minus 4ac, just like plugging into area equals length times width. Okay, we're just going to substitute a number for b, numbers for a and c, and we're going to do the math. Okay, and simplify. The answer you get will tell you information. It will tell you how many answers there are to the original problem. Okay? If you get a negative number, that means that problem was not solvable to get an answer that you would understand at this point in your career. Okay? You would not get a real number at all. It's called two imaginary numbers. Okay? We'll talk more about that Friday. If you plug into b squared minus 4ac and get a positive number, that means there's going to be two real answers to the problem. Real number answers, like you've been doing when you were factoring. Okay, you've gotten two answers to those x squared problems. Okay, b squared minus 4ac, if it's positive, it's going to give you two real answers. Okay, and if b squared minus 4ac comes out to exactly 0, that means there's only going to be one answer to that original problem. I know the last few days I've been telling you that typically there's two answers to an x squared, because typically you're going to get two real numbers. But what I've avoided up to now, up to Friday, is there could only be one answer, and there could be no answer, or what's called two imaginary answers. Okay? I'm going to make this part 1 of the video, and then part 2 of the video will be doing the examples, so it won't take as long to download. Thanks. Bye.